What is going on, guys, and welcome to episode 20 of the Listen Whilst You Step podcast. Today, we have the man with the worst jokes that I've ever heard in my life on, Mr. Ben Mark. And I did a photo shoot with Ben back in 2018. Was it 2018? Yeah, it would have been 2018.
Yeah, 19.
Yeah, 2019. I've lost track of my years. But yeah, that photo shoot was probably one of the most pivotal moments in my kind of fitness journey, and I wanted to bring Ben on to kind of talk about some photo shoots, why they are so impactful for a lot of people's lives and their fitness journey, and how it can help not only coaches but also just everyday general population and things like that. But I won't give him too much of an introduction. I'll let Ben kind of intro himself, kind of talk a little about who he is, what he does, and how he got into the fitness industry.
So thank you very much for having me on board, buddy. So my name is Ben Mark. I am a fitness photographer based over in the UK. Been shooting now full time for 6 or so years, and I've generally just got a real passion for kind of capturing people's results and also just progression in general. It's something that I don't know how not to think of, which some people find very weird. But even my wife kind of gets annoyed with me because every single conversation we have is about how we can just make something a little bit better, but it's just the way I am, and hence why my photography is all about kind of capturing people at their best, making them feel as comfortable and as good as possible. And if I can help people with their businesses in any way, whether that's just confidence or any advice, it's just what I do.
Yeah, absolutely love that. I'm so the same with progression. I'm always looking what's next. I think that's why we got on fairly well when we had our photo shoot and things like that. But why photography? What led you into photography?
So my photography, it was kind of random, really. When I used to ride mountain bikes and BMX back in the day, and this was back in the days of MySpace, and we'd all go out riding our bikes, and you'd always want a new MySpace photo, show off the latest trick that you've learned or the biggest jump that you've done. And obviously back in the days, we're talking about phone quality was 2 megabyte, 2 megapixel camera, just awful. I borrowed my parents had a little point and shoot camera, and I just started shooting more. And there was something, I suppose, from my kind of sporting background. I've always played football or liked sports in general, that there was something about the timing of the moment that kind of just resonated with me. It was one of those things I don't know, when you do a tricep extension, the exact point. You don't want it halfway down. You want it when your triceps fully locked in. And I think I understood that quite early on, especially with the tricks. You didn't want it if you were doing a 360, you didn't want it the wrong side, or if you were doing a backflip, you wanted it at the right point, not when you were on your way upside down, but when you were upside down. And I just loved the kind of thrill of capturing that moment. And when someone saw that photo, they'll be like, "Oh my god, you caught it for me! How's that?" And it was just quite a cool thing. And so obviously the progression came along with just learning how to use the camera even better and taking it out of auto mode. And then all of a sudden it was I was getting magazine work and getting pictures published all around the world, which was amazing. And then I kind of came away from that and then got into fitness myself, and then that was what started my journey into being a fitness photographer today.
Yeah, love that. Obviously, you've been on your own transformation, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah. So I don't know. Have you had Adam on your podcast yet?
No, it's going to line up. He's been mentioned in every other episode.
Oh, right, okay. So me and Adam, basically, we had an agreement when we met. A mutual friend of ours, basically my ex-girlfriend's sister's partner, knew both Adam and I, and he basically said, "You need a coach. Go with someone." And I was like, "I don't pay for coaching. I've got no idea what I'm doing with any of this. The typical thing." And if you want the honest answer of what happened, my ex-girlfriend was very good at losing two pounds and then ordering a pizza to celebrate, and I didn't know any better. I went to Scotland for a month when I used to work on the PGA Golf Tour, and I came back home and I was 128 or 129 kilos. And let's say we potentially went to get a bit intimate, and I kind of not looked down at that, but I just looked at myself and went, "What on earth's going on here? I look like a blimp." And so it was just right, okay, something needs to change. He put me in touch with Adam. We got kind of working together. He knew I was a photographer and he wanted some images done. We worked together on that. I then lost, I think it was 38, 40 odd kilos with Adam. And then yeah, just kind of got hooked into it. I just love the progression side of it, of just that kind of going into the gym. Can you do a few more weights? Can you like add a bit more weight to it? Can you do a couple more reps? Like, can you lose a bit more weight? Can you look a bit more muscular? Like, and it just hooked me in.
Yeah, massively. I think everyone gets hooked in there when they get that first transformation. I know for me, it was like back in school. I hated school because you like work your ass off all year, for example, or whatever. You do one test at the end, you either pass, you fail. With the gym, if you do the work, you see that progression week in, week out, week in, week out, and it's just so rewarding to see yourself chipping away, seeing that progression. It does get addictive.
Yeah, it's like I can see why so many people, once they do their first photo shoot, suddenly then want to become PTs, because it's just that nature of just like, oh, what a transformation! I'd love to be able to help other people do this, and you can see why, like, it's addictive. It's just people just want to keep helping.
It must like I even so I did obviously the shoot with you, and then I did a group shoot with a load of other clients, which we're trying to do, hopefully do another one at some point. It'd be cool to get all my clients over to Dubai or something. That'd be really cool. But it must be so rewarding. I know, like, even when I saw the photographer show that person the photo, people don't even like believe it's them sometimes.
I think like I've had generally had a few people cry on me. It's one of those things where I think a lot of it comes down to, like, you don't know the person's backstory. Sometimes people have been through like terrible relationships or bad ways with food, or like a number of different things. And then when they finally see that they don't look as bad as what they think they're going to look on camera, that's the point where they suddenly, like, it just comes out of them, and then they suddenly cut themselves some slack and actually enjoy the process. And it's like, it still does get me to the day when you show someone like their back, because most people have never seen their back, and they suddenly see how shredded it is, and they're like, that's me, like, that can't be me, I don't look like that. And you're like, well, yeah, it is you, and it has been you since you walked in the door. So how about you just chill out a little bit and enjoy the process? And like, typically, like, a little comment I always say to people is, actually, the more you relax with all of this, the better you're going to look.
Yeah.
So like, it's one of those things when people do relax a bit and they suddenly see that and they're like, wow, I can't believe I've done a professional photo shoot and I actually enjoyed the process. I didn't feel like out of place, or so that's the big thing for me. That's the one thing that really like gets me like geared up, is like when people say, I've done this, and I'm like, wow, that's just like, I know how hard that is and I can relate to it, which makes it easy for me to understand.
Absolutely. Like, sometimes people don't know they just see the photo shoot, they don't see the months and months of hard work and the emotional, like, kind of baggage that might be coming with that, the highs and the lows. And it's incredible to be able to capture that kind of that end product. I think a lot of people get quite worried about doing photo shoots. I know, particularly here in Jersey, when I tried to do one for my clients, everyone was so hesitant about it. But once they did it and they relaxed, like you said, they were like, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever done. So who should do a photo shoot, do you reckon?
Anyone that believes they can't.
Love that.
Like, it's the thing is with the only people that you're worried about is the people that probably don't matter to you. In a weird way, it's almost like, I don't know, like, it's like me looking up to a few other business owners going, if I do this, are they going to look down on me? Most of the time they're all too busy doing what they're doing, and actually they're probably going to go, fair play, he's having a good go at it. Like, you know, I think a lot of people give themselves a lot of hard times over the fact of, oh, if I do a photo shoot, am I going to look big-headed? Am I going to even pose right? Like, you know, have I actually got enough weight off of me to look decent to be able to qualify myself as having a good photo shoot? I had someone actually phone me about a photo shoot yesterday, and they said, I'm 45 years old and fat. I'm never going to look on the camera. She sent me a picture of herself, and I was like, I've got no idea what you're talking about here. You look incredible, in obviously a professional manner. You look incredible. Like, you're just giving yourself a hard time there. Like, talk positively about yourself, and we'll probably have a good shoot. And so many people just get it into their heads that they can't do it, or they're not the right type of person, but they've just talked themselves out of it because they're either worried about whether they'll make a mistake or fail, or whether someone else's judgment on them's going to, like, kind of get in the way of that. But even more reason to prove them wrong.
Yeah, amen to that. And as I said, Kieran said this to us, and he was saying that Kieran's a mindset coach, and he was saying that fear and excitement are technically the same thing. On the other side of something which kind of scares you a little bit is excitement. I don't know, I was absolutely shitting myself for our first shoot, but I never looked back.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, you did. That first time I stood in my garage, like, oh, what's going on?
What am I doing?
Yeah, literally. But I said this when we did the other shoot in Dubai, and I said one of the special things about you is that you make everyone feel like incredibly relaxed. And I think a lot of people go into shoots thinking, oh, I don't know what to do, but you just guide people and you just kind of go like, look, this is what we're going to do, and it just puts everyone at ease.
I mean, I understand from a professional point of view, if you're going with someone, it's almost like if you're going to I don't know, like a driving school or you're going to learn to fly, you hope the person that's going to take you on the thing knows what they're doing. Um, but at the same time, like the more you relax and just try and enjoy yourself, like I, d- it's one of these weird things, and it always goes back to this in my head. Someone said to me like years ago, if I stood next to you and you were having a heart attack, would you rather me be calm or would you rather me be stressed? And you'd rather me be calm to help you. So I always just think like, what's the point of making any situation stressful? Like life's stressful enough as it is. You do these things to achieve things, or you're going to learn from it. You're going to learn from the process and then move forward. But like the more you relax about it and actually just go, I'm just going to go and learn something about myself and try something new, you'll probably end up enjoying yourself more and actually coming away with it with a more positive experience. If you're just saying to yourself, I won't like any of these photos, this won't be any good, then you're just already telling yourself you're going to fail. And then it's almost like, and the other way of looking at it is like, you know, when you go on like an unplanned night out, someone says to you, right, that's it, grab your jacket, we're going for a beer, and you just go out and maybe just go out and enjoy yourself for the evening and do whatever. They're like the best nights ever because you just had no preconception of what it was, and like you just let it go with the flow. Whereas you plan it for 7 months and you're like, oh right, this is going to be the night we do it, like everything, and then it's never the same as what you hope it's going to be with all that planning. And I always say to people, like a photo shoot, even though you're planning for it, like it should almost be like a first, like almost like a first date or like that unplanned evening out where you just go out and enjoy yourself and just see what happens. Because when you see yourself looking more natural and you're smiling, you're having a bit of a laugh, or you know you are shredded and like you can just like tense and see yourself looking that way, you're suddenly then just like, wow, I'm doing it. It's me. And then that weight just gets lifted off your shoulders, and then you suddenly feel 6 feet tall. In Adam's case, maybe 4'5". But like it's one of those things where you just want people to. I want people to be able to feel like they've taken themselves forward, and I don't see why you would try and make it in any other way.
Yeah, massively. I think it's an incredible chance for progression and learning a lot about yourself. For me as well, like when I did the shoot, I think my favorite photos that we took were the ones where I didn't even realize you'd taken them. And we were just like having a conversation, went bang. I was like, oh, motherfucker. Then we look at them after and like, oh shit, yeah, I like that because it's just a lot more relaxed and a lot more chilled.
You're just not thinking about it. Like that's why everyone loves like candid wedding photos, because you're just in the moment. You're just being you instead of like put your arm here, back here, shoulders here, like. Yeah, it gets to a point where you're just like, Jesus, like just relax a little bit and just be you. And then but like that's the whole point. Once you can do that, you know, you can lock into a photo shoot, get the right or like shot and get the right like bicep shot or whatever like that. And then when you get the natural shot of you just walking away with the dumbbells and you look like shredded, then you suddenly go, wow, I just look like the boss in this photo. And like it's just nothing like, you know, those little moments are the bits where I suppose if you are booking a photographer, typically you want them to be kind of on the scout for those types of moments to capture it, to then get that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's an amazing like source of accountability as well.
Yeah.
I think if you are on like a fitness journey, it just gives you like so many people that go like, right, I want to lose some weight. I'm like, great. How much do you want to lose and when do you want to lose it by? They go, oh, I'd like to lose 3 stone by some time. I'll be all right. Like, give yourself some accountability. Like some of the guys we had do the shoot back last year in September time, it got like 6 weeks out of the shoot, and that's when they would normally start to maybe be a little bit flaky. All of a sudden, they were so dialed in on things. They were so motivated because they had that time frame. So yeah, I would honestly recommend a shoot for anybody. What's your top 3 tips for anybody who is looking to potentially do a shoot?
Book it well enough in advance that you have got the time to achieve what you want to do without stressing yourself. Because some people go, oh, I want to do a shoot in 8 weeks when they need 12. And then they're just trying to achieve the unachievable, or they're just going to completely like murder themselves to get to that place, which, okay, some people like a challenge, but it's probably not going to be beneficial in the day-to-day life. Spray tan and coconut oil is always an extra winner. Makes you feel a bit good and makes your muscles look bigger. And just to, honestly, just to relax. Like, just, it's not like you're going to be hung up, and it's not like you're going to a science experiment where they're going to open your heart out and do that. You're just having your photo taken. Like, you know, you're always going to, how many photos do you look back from at school going, oh, what was I doing with my hair? Or what was I like doing with this? Or like, I don't know, like look at Facebook and it comes up with a memory from 6 years ago and you think, who on earth was I? Like, that's going to happen regardless, but wouldn't you rather look shredded in it and go, wow, I remember that time where I really pushed myself? And like also, you'll remember the time where you actually went, all I did was I just focused on myself for a while and look how much I achieved. Regardless of like the end goal of the photos or whatever like that, like it's just like I dedicated a chunk of time to myself and that's what I achieved.
So there's so many people don't invest like into themselves and go all in on themselves. Very, very few people. And look, you did it, and then look at the position and the results you got off the back of it. Do you think that opened a lot of doors for you?
Oh, like everything comes down to that. Everything, like my life turned in a very good way after that first transformation. Like I learned a lot about myself, and I think from, I mean, at the time I was still with my ex-girlfriend, and I was getting a lot more people like looking at me just from a, you know, my chest looked a bit better and my arms looked a bit better, and I was no longer this like fat chubby guy. And it was just amazing to walk around feeling like, oh, actually, I might be vaguely attractive to people, or I might be like, you know, and that might sound very big-headed, but like I was noticing people looking at me, whereas most people wouldn't. They would just go, oh, just some lard that's, you know, doesn't get off the sofa. And just because I'd spent like 5-6 months just dedicating it to myself and not working with like looking at anyone else or doing anything like that, it allowed me to see what I could do. I then went back away on the golf tour for 5-6 months, and I was training still because I kind of got the kind of buzz of it, but I wasn't really eating the right stuff. I was just obviously doing whatever I was doing. I put on a bit of size. Then I dieted down with Adam again, and that was where I looked a lot more muscular. And that was while I was single, and it just, for me, it was like one of the best times ever. Not just purely because it was like a kind of, I suppose, like a sexual thing or anything like that, but like I just felt like there was nothing else holding me back, and I could just be me. And it was when I started realising actually I could do a lot more.
Unleash the potential.
Oh mate, it did, honestly, like that the second transformation that I did with Adam, admittedly I didn't diet as hard because I was going on dates all the time and I was just eating stuff and I just felt good. Like I was quite happy with who I was. Not long after like I finished that transformation with Adam, a true story, I put all my progress photos on Tinder. That's how I met my wife. And then yeah, literally like I think I did the transformation in, must have been around February time. I met my wife couple of months after that, and then since then that was the start of my, you know, me just taking on the world kind of thing, like trying to, you know, start my business, starting 2 businesses, buying a house, having a baby. Yeah, it's all happened in the last 6 years ever since that transformation happened.
When you decided to take that time to concentrate on you.
It's the best thing I've ever done is invested in myself. 100%. Like the money that I've invested to myself, I'd honestly say if I could double it, I would do. I mean, not saying I can't right now, but I'm actually trying to be a bit sensible at the moment and build something a bit bigger before I go too crazy. And it's my things are working at the moment, but for those initial investments in getting a coach, and especially with like business coaching and stuff like that, hands down, like the best things I've ever spent money on.
I'm exactly the same. Everything that's happened to me in the last kind of 2 years with aesthetic strength and the online coaching side of things all happened based off the transformation that I went through. And I realized that I was capable of more. I could hold myself to higher standards than I thought I could. There was more room for potential. Then I met yourself. Then you introduced me to Adam. Then I go away and then you see the likes of Charlie and you see what the kind of stuff that he's doing in the fitness industry. And all of a sudden you realize, holy shit, I'm not even scratching the surface. And it's just eye-opening. But if you don't take that first step, then you're never going to get the ball.
If you go back now to that first photo shoot, like the photo shoot we did, and just think if you hadn't followed that up.
Oh, I nearly didn't. That's the scary thing.
I know you didn't.
It took me like 6 months to message Adam.
And then, like, you just think now, if you had those 6 months back.
Don't. It goes through my head all the time.
It's that thing, like, people just put it off and they don't go for it and they don't. Like, you get one chance to live this life. I mean, everyone's seen the last year and a half how kind of difficult it's all been. And if you're prepared to spend any longer wasting your life, it's not that me or you won't talk to people, won't be around them, but you can see why people at the very top of their game have got very little interest in talking to people in some, like, you know, not in a nasty way, but like in a way of like, well, like, I want to get on with life, I want to do things, I want to make stuff happen. And if you're not one of those progressive people that's going to help me push along my journey, then why would I want to waste my time, you know. And like even now, like I've got my boy, like those of you that don't know me, I had a son 1st of September last year, and like it's amazing how having him in my world suddenly just gone, well, if someone's not prepared to support his journey, then get out of my way. And like, I'm not an arsehole. Like people will know me like well enough that like, no, I'm just a quite genuine, like easygoing guy. But at the same time, I can just move on from stuff now because it's just got that purpose about it. It's like, well, no, I'm going to make a massive future for him. And not that he's going to be given the world because I want him to work hard for it, but like I want him to see that actually, like his old man went. Well, that's the first time I've ever said that. His dad's like gone on and achieved it. You know, and it's like amazing when I talk to some of my work colleagues that I worked with, and they're like, oh, "How's it going? It must have been difficult for you." And I'm like, oh, "My business is flying. Like I can barely stay at home." You know, and it's amazing that all of these like these bits that I've done and all the hours I spent just staring at my laptop trying to learn and progress and do more has now led to a point where, you know, I'm within like 2-3 months I'm making the money that I was making in over an entire year, and then suddenly going look at what the potential is now. And that's not just a financial thing, but it's just that as a business owner, as a person, it's like, wow, like what else can I do? And that's why I want people to like see the potential in progress and photo shoots and possibilities and stuff and just go for it. Like you've got all you're going to do is learn. You're not going to lose. Like we can all lose money, but you can all earn it again. So it's not really a loss. It's just an experience.
You win or you learn.
100%.
And I think just by taking that leap of faith and almost not putting yourself under the pressure, I think for me, like I booked the shoot and then I was nearly second guessing it so many times. Oh, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm so happy that I followed through from it, and everything has just rolled on from there because I invested in myself. I've got that ball rolling. What would be, obviously there's loads of people out there trying to take better photos. What would be your top 3 tips, people trying to take like better videos, better photos for their fitness journey, maybe for Instagram or whatever that might be? I'm interested in this.
Okay. For PTs, I would say stop trying to be too. I mean, okay, you're seeing my screen now with all these high-end cameras and audio and all this type of stuff. Stop trying to be too fancy, and just get your message out there. Like, how many films could you go back and watch now that like were made like 20 years ago, where like we didn't have high definition and the audio wasn't anywhere near as good as it would be, but it's still an amazing film or still an amazing like video to watch of someone's transformation, or like I don't know, like maybe like an empowering speech. It's the message of what's in it like that really matters. So if you capture the moment of someone doing something with photos and videos that's got like a good meaning behind it, the rest of it's just trying to be fancy. At the same time, if you're trying to be the best of the best, you have to be prepared that it's going to take you a long time to hone in on the craft and learn just those magic little moments that happen when you know all of the variants and you can control them. Taking better photos, obviously this is going to sound very, very salesy, but I'm a photography coach, so hence why if you're wanting to learn, drop me a DM and I can help you. Having a coach has actually, like, I learned a lot from myself, but having a coach for even like 3 months unlocked so many doors for me, and then I didn't need the rest of it. It was just a few little unlocks that I needed, and sometimes it's just a few tips in the right direction, and then things start going the right way, and then all of a sudden you realise actually like you had most of the knowledge there. And the main thing that anyone's going to really learn about is lighting. Honestly, like lighting is like all that photography is about. If you've got good light, you can capture it. If you've got bad light, you've got to try and manipulate it. If you, let's say, for example, like struggling to find places to do check-in photos, like going near a window is always going to be good because you're naturally going to get more light coming in. You know, like if you're looking to kind of take a cheeky photo where you're going to look really shredded, or like more defined, even if you're not, if you've got like a light above your head but it's in front of you instead of being like, if you're standing underneath it, let's just say like you had a little spotlight and you took a step back so the spotlight was in front of you, all of that light going down is going to add definition going downwards, which obviously going to make everything look leaner. So any lighting that you can find like that is always going to make your photos look better without getting too technical with all of this.
It's a minefield if you start going down it.
But also it is quite simple. Like one of the best things we've got in the UK is, and especially at Jersey, in that like it's often cloudy. We don't get the best weather. Like I know I've been to Jersey and I saw the sun coming out and it was absolutely amazing. I come back home and it was grey again. But like we get overcast times a lot, and that's the best lighting because actually outside it's really soft natural light. So actually, they're the best times to take photos when it's really sunny and you think, oh, this is lovely for photos, and you've got really dark shadows on everything. Other than if you're trying to get your perfect ab shot, if you're trying to take a portrait of someone and it's really dark shadows, you're never going to get a good shot. Whereas like this weather now, like in the UK where it's overcast and cloudy, it's nice and soft. It's really good to go out and take photos with.
Yeah, massively awesome. That's class. Then mate, where can people find you? Where can people book in shoots? And also, I know you teach people photography.
So main thing is just my my Instagram, which is at benmarkphoto for Photoshoots. My typical thing is obviously just getting people booked in months in advance, so then they've got a goal to work towards. For photography coaching, I've got my Instagram account, which is the photography_coach, where it's basically like just really taking off at the moment, and it's amazing to see so many photographers around the world like progressing, even during this lockdown time, like where they can actually get out and still get results. So they're the two places where you can find me.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. Guys, I'll leave all the description things down below, so make sure you give Ben a follow, make sure you share this to your Instagram story, tag us both, and we'll see you in the next episode.